Hi Kiwi! So today we're going to be taking a break from the speed challenge and heading into a new challenge, which will be Darkness Falls today. So, now that I don't have the excuse of being so focused on gameplay that I can't offer proper commentary, the question then becomes, well, what should I comment about? So I figured I'd do some story time this time. Particularly, we're gonna talk about some old childhood memories of mine, I suppose. I guess the first memory I can bring up is how I once as a child wanted to make breakfast for my family and it went horribly, horribly wrong. So, I'm not quite sure what was in my brain and why I thought this was a good idea, but my plan for making breakfast for everyone was to, well, I wanted to make them an egg breakfast. Except I wasn't allowed to touch the stove. And I had seen in TV that people like to eat eggs raw. So I put some plates on the desk. I think, you know what I think? I think it was Gaston from Beauty and the Beast was my only reference for this. I saw him eat raw eggs to get roughly the size of a barge, if you will. And I thought, oh, that must be how some people like their eggs. I should try it for my family. And so I took a full carton of eggs, and I cracked them open over pretty much every surface in the house. And I mean, not flat surfaces. They were on the walls, they were in the dog dish, they were on the table. I think I couldn't reach plates, so I had to just serve them straight on the table. And yeah, I got in a lot of trouble, as you'd expect, because, well, certainly my parents were not happy to wake up and find a absolutely devastated kitchen covered in eggs. Yeah, so not even my dog was quite happy about the situation, I have to say. She did not seem interested in the breakfast I had prepared for her, unfortunately. Making good work of Sack-Dag there. Alright, we're starting off with caffeine pill. I'm not gonna take pills on the challenge unless I get tilted, I suppose. So yeah, that's story number one. As you can see, I feel like a lot of these stories are going to be I had good intent and I had poor outcome. What other stories can we bring to the table today? Well, I guess since we're watching Steven Universe, I can talk about this one. So I connected with a lot of friends about Steven Universe. So I used to volunteer at a equestrian park that worked with learning disabled children. And this place was really cool because the horses were trained very, very well. They had to be, because they're working with children who may be violent, may have bad habits and such, where they may strike the horse, and the horse has to be trained not to strike back. And so all the horses were very well trained for, like, what we call spook training, where they don't easily spook. So what they would do is they would take the horses on trails, and every now and again they would just randomly go like, "Wah!" and like flail their arms and try to spook the horse. And they would slowly, like, positively reinforce the horses not having that sort of negative reaction. But I remember one day I was doing, so my job at this equestrian, this equestria was to clean up the muck, basically. And I would spend almost a whole Saturday morning, maybe about 4 hours out in the sun, rain, snow, I didn't care, I was having fun, just taking the muck rake and scooping up the horse goo. Goo probably is the horse rocks, let's call them. It's poop. Manure, that's the word. Scooping up the manure. And I would do that once a week, every Saturday, under most circumstances. And I was never strictly told how long I had to stay to do that. I kind of just assumed I did all of the paddocks, and then when I was done I could go home, but I'm pretty sure I could have done an hour and they would have been like, well, thank you for your time, I'm glad we had you. But since no one specifically told me, I just was like, alright, well, I have a clear benchmark for completing everything, I may as well try and meet it. And so I would. But the story has gotten a lot of very derailed, just to give some baseline context. But really what I'm trying to say is, so one day I'm in like the main paddocks, after having finished mucking, and I hear the person who was effectively my boss, but not really my boss, just kind of my advisor, if you will. And she was playing Undertale music, and I'm like, oh, hey, that's something I can connect to someone over. Because, I mean, you know me, I'm kind of socially awkward, to say the least. I'm not great at reaching out to other people and being like, hi, I'd like to be friends. I think this is the right move now. I have permanent Core of Babylon. Alright. Didn't mean to use that, but may as well. But yeah, so I found someone who I could bond with over the over Steven Universe as well, actually, because she showed me her playlist, and I'm like, oh hey, I recognize these songs too. And I remember we talked so much about Steven Universe, and this person was kind of crazy like me, where their work ethic was a little bit self-destructive. I think I know her partner was an EMT sort of person, and she obviously did a lot with she was the primary horse trainer there. She was also a photographer, I believe. She reminds me a lot in that vein as to one of our friends from school, who was our very horse-focused friend in school. I'll try and leave names out just to protect identities. Not that I expect her to ever watch these and be like, oh hey, he's talking about me. But, you know, either way, she was a pretty cool person, I wouldn't call her laid back. I feel like she definitely was the sort of person who, given the right circumstances, could become very stressed about situations and let it show. I could be mistaken. Certainly I didn't know her that well. I saw her once a week, and we mostly just talked while doing work, if anything. But she was extraordinarily good with the horses. This is one of my least favorite bosses in the game. Not really a difficult boss, but just I hate bosses that pad their time by having just really long unnecessary invulnerability. Oh well. We've almost got him now. Come on. Got it. Okay, cool. Pretty clean fight. Ah, unfortunate. Alright, I forgot I have the pin active. Oh well. So, but yeah, it was really cool that I could have someone on a professional relationship sort of situation that I could talk to about things like that. The other, I guess, another story I can share is kind of on the similar lines. One of the organic chemistry TAs I used to work with, he also was really big into Steven Universe. And I remember we talked a lot about that together. You know him. He's one of my several moms that I've accumulated, so I guess that story is basically every place I spend an excessive amount of time at, I tend to have an adopted mom. So in undergrad, I would say it was my this one friend. We'll call him Licky Tongue. Maybe I shouldn't call a friend Licky Tongue, because out of context that could be very concerning. It's just his name sounded like Lickitung, so we called him that. It has nothing to do with what he does. Alright. But that was undergrad mom. And then of course we'll call her Raspberry, I guess. Raspberry we adopted as our graduate school mom, and then I think Lemonly took over for her when she left school. I think that unlocks doors. Big fan. I'm gonna take this. Car battery sounds really good here. But and then of course the actual moms, your mom and my mom, when otherwise not mommed, if you will. But yeah, I guess I have mom, I have mother-in-law, and then I have my 3 adoptive mothers. And all of them have to deal with the headache that I am. The unintentionally, but also sometimes very intentionally self-destructive, bad choice-making individual that I have proven myself to be time and time again. Let's see if Awaz works here. Oh, okay, it leads to the next floor. I don't want to do that. Library? Necronomicon, Book of Sin, not amazing. I was hopeful that would blow up the fires, but it didn't. Alright, we'll just... I'm still in the speedrun mindset where I have to go as fast as possible. Alright, oh, an angelic heart. Well, I guess we're never gonna get, Actually, we'll probably get it back with the double deal. We'll get Horror of Babylon back soon enough, I'm sure. Anyway, so yeah, I have many a mom in my lifetime, as odd as that sounds. I should reach out to some of them and see how they're doing. I know we keep in touch with Lemonly and Raspberry a lot, but I should see how Lickitung is doing. I know he's got a partner now, and I wonder if he's still playing Overwatch at all. I feel like he's the sort of person that all the controversy over Overwatch probably would have turned him off from playing it. But who knows? As far as Overwatch goes for me, obviously I'm not a fan of the just egregious and predatory microtransaction habits that they've developed. As a whole, I never really had the strongest connection with Blizzard compared to my friends. I never played WoW. I was interested in playing WoW, but I got into RuneScape, so anyone who lived in that era really knew it was kind of the one or the other sort of scenario for a lot of people. I mean, they're all subscription-based, and WoW had the more expensive subscription. I'm quite happy with my choice. I still like RuneScape, and I think if I had the choice between the two, I would still favor RuneScape, because it's more AFK, and I like having kind of an idle game to run in the background while studying or doing work. So I think it was the better choice for my personal preferences. Alright. Cambrian Conception, and... Alright, we're going to take this. I think I'm going to take both, honestly, because I can. I have enough of a potential for HP that I should be fine. And I'll still have Horror of Babylon because... Oh, wait, no, this will give me a full heart, so I think it'll cancel it out. Nope, okay, it's 1 heart. Cool. So yeah, pretty strong run. Could use some tears up. But other than that, I'd say my damage is pretty squared up good. And my survivability is great with this as well. Alright. Do I use a bomb to have on... Yeah, I'm gonna use a bomb. I want to do this. This looks like fun. You know, I'm dumb. I could have used the pin. Oh well. It's fine. Jeff doesn't think. Jeff feels. What was I saying? So yeah, Blizzard, on one hand, I'm definitely not a fan of how they monetize their games. There's a lot of fear of missing out, sort of predatory actions that I think... I mean, back when I played the Nexon Run game, Dungeon Fighter Online, before they lost it to Neeple and kind of shut down the service because of just how poorly managed the servers were, I spent so much money on that game getting cosmetics and things of that nature, and I never realized how foolish that was, because a game can go down in an instant. Just see Overwatch 1, for example. There can just be a decision that it is gone. And I don't know if the Overwatch 1 cosmetic purchases that people made carried over to Overwatch 2 or not, but if they didn't, certainly there were definitely people who spent a ton of money on that game and have nothing to show for it. And that's always... Obviously, that does not feel good, that does not feel consumer-friendly, and that's the least of the worries on the front of Blizzard. It's not had a good public appearance for a while. I'm not sure if it's Blizzard itself or just once Activision purchased it, and my inclination is to say it was the Activision side of things. I've never played a Call of Duty game. I'm just not big on first-person shooters to begin with. Overwatch was interesting because I like the characters, I like the lore behind the game. Call of Duty is just set in reality, and I have no interest in war. I have no interest in reality or the wars that it brings. So yeah, Call of Duty never appealed to me very much at all. Really, the only first-person shooter I ever got into was Team Fortress 2. Because, I mean, if you look at... Team Fortress 2 is as much a social experiment as anything else, frankly. My favorite class to play in TF2 was the Spy. I played Spy and Demo Man most of all. Obviously, as when I started out, I was mostly a Pyro, the classic, what is it, M1W phrase that everyone uses, where Pyro, you hold left click and you just run at people and light them on fire, and it works fine. But I got pretty decent at TF2 because I played it so much for a very long time. Like I could reflect Pyro. Obviously, the main thing you do with Pyro is you left click and run at people and light them on fire. But there are a lot of things the Pyro can do in addition to that. Well, he had a projectile gun that could light. He had a gun that shot kind of like a flare that could light people on fire. And the Pyro's fire is very close range, so it gave him a long range option. He had a hammer that could remove. I forget what they're called, but the spies are basically TF2 has all of its classes balanced around each other to some degree. So engineers create machines that can dispense ammo and heal allies that stand near it, as well as turrets that they can set up. And the spy class has a way to deactivate those. They put something on it, and then after a certain period of time, or it does kind of a bleed type damage onto those machines, and then once they reach 0 HP, they get destroyed. The Pyro can remove them with that hammer item I was mentioning, so it was always useful to keep that on. But the fun thing about them is the Pyro also had the ability to, rather than left click, when he right clicks, rather than shoot fire, he shoots a gust of wind that has a wind box and pushes people around. And so it was so fun as Pyro to like bring pardon me, bear with me, I am braining for a boss fight. It was so fun to bring that ability to where there were like ledges that you could have, like you could fall off the edge and die. And what my favorite thing to do was I forget the name of the map, but there was a map where people would hide a transporter or a teleporter that the engineer can build, where you stand on it and you get teleported to a second location after it's set up. I forget what the map was, but a classic spot was next to a set of stairs that overhung that looked over a cliff, because you could hide it behind the stairs and not a lot of people would check there. But what I would do is I would wait for an engineer to set that up and stand on the stairs and then just blow people off of the cliff as soon as they spawned in. And oh my goodness, I got so many funny kills doing that. The other thing that the wind box could do is reflect certain projectiles, specifically that I can think of, the rockets that the soldier could shoot, which were these very easy to see, surprisingly, rockets, because they left a tail of gas that was colored, so you could usually see the rocket pretty clearly. And so you could just reflect it with the Pyro's wind gusts, and it was so much fun. I mean, I used to be... I got so good at TF2 that I remember I had I think it was a 27 kill streak on Engineer. That was kind of its own thing. But basically what happened, one of my favorite experiences with TF2, honestly, and I have a photo of it because it was just so funny. 2 Fort is kind of one of the original... let's go ahead and get this. So one of the original maps on TF2 is called 2 Fort, and it's kind of known for being a bit of a choke point map where it's very hard to make progress because people kind of meet in the middle and aren't really able to make that progress. And so the matches on it's a capture the flag map for context, where basically it's called the intelligence. It's a briefcase in the bottom of each person's base that you have to collect and then bring back to your intelligence or your intelligence room. And in 2 Fort, what I would do is, as engineer, I would sneak into the enemy base, set up a turret, a dispenser, and a teleporter in the enemy's intelligence room while everyone else is kind of at the stalemate, where nothing can really go one way or the other. And then I would just sit in this corner. So the room with the intelligence is square shaped, and there were entrances at 2 of the opposing corners. But what that meant is, so entering the room, the corner with the intelligence is visible by those two entrances, but there is one corner that you cannot see because of how the entrances into the room are positioned. And I would hide in that corner, and I would make like a little corner where my dispenser and my turret would prevent people from being able to reach me directly, and I would keep my back to the wall constantly so I couldn't get backstabbed by a spy. Spies are effectively the counter to engineers, because spies can turn invisible. They can also, what's the word? Disguise themselves as an ally, and when they are invisible or when they are disguised as an ally, turrets do not target them. And so the spy can disguise themselves, walk up to the turret, and then hit them with the disabler, or I think it's called a sapper if I think correctly now, and hit it with the sapper. So they'll run up and start disabling all your machines. But here's the thing, so there's a weapon in TF2 that the engineer can use called Frontier Justice, and it's basically a shotgun. But the shotgun gets crits for every kill your turret gets, I believe. And so I had stockpiled like 75 crits on this weapon. So if I found a spy, I would run up to them, shotgun them in the face, which, because it crits and it's a shotgun at point blank range against a glass cannon sort of class that the spy is, I would kill the spy. And then I would remove the engineer has the ability to both repair his machines and remove the sapper. So I would do that, and then the enemy team would be back to square one because of it. And yeah, I have a photo on my Facebook, I believe, where I have like, I know I got 27 kills. I think the Frontier Justice gave more crits than it gave than the kills you got, so like it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. I don't remember specifically, but just that photo is insane. You can see me camped out in the corner just with an absurd number of crit shots and kills over my head. And really the only solution, which is hard to coordinate in a game where it's a public match, the only solution for the enemy team to do was to have a medic heavy combo, probably. So the way the medic works is he's a healing class, and you shoot your allies rather than your enemies to heal them. And as the medic heals and does damage, he generates effectively an ultimate ability, if you think of it like that, where he generates charge, and once that charge is generated, he can, what is it called? Overcharge, or Ubercharge, maybe, I think it is. But basically, he can give his allies a temporary invulnerability, and the way to play it right is when you click an ally to heal them, a little stream of healing energy will go to your ally, and then with Ubercharge, that's still the case. Whoever you're healing gets the invulnerability, but you can juggle the invulnerability on allies, because the way it worked was, I don't need this, but I'm going to take it so I can maintain Horror of Babylon. The way it would work is the medic would just like click on each of his allies and kind of rotate through them, and that would grant almost half a team full invulnerability if you juggled it properly. And if you're invulnerable, you're not taking damage from turrets that'll wipe you out otherwise. So that was the only way the enemy team could really like wipe out my things. They need a heavy who does a lot of damage and is pretty tanky. And the heavy medic combo is kind of like the classic, this is the guy you Ubercharge. Because of that. Because he's big. And if you're big, you're a giant target in an FPS. So there's a balance there. But basically, they needed that comboed with a spy being covered by the Ubercharge to try and knock out the machines temporarily. And between those two, they probably could have done it. But no, because this is a public server, no one really knew how to coordinate or properly... I'm gonna feel cool. I don't feel cool. That wasn't really worth it. But because, again, because it's a public server, no one really knew how to coordinate and make that happen. So it didn't happen until the very end of the game, and my team won because they brought their entire team to come and stop me. Like, because of how I had set up in their base, like, obviously not everyone knew about it. The only people who knew about it were the enemy team returning with their intelligence, and they would end up dying. Our team's intelligence, our flag, would get dropped in the room of their intelligence, and no one would be able to save it, and after a certain time, if the flag is dropped, it gets teleported back to the original, to its spawn point back in our base. So people would constantly come running into the room like, oh, I'm gonna score a point for my team, and get wiped out, not know what just happened. And it was such a fun game, and like I just keep trying to do it now whenever I haven't played Team Fortress 2 in years. I played it a lot in undergrad, in undergrad and probably high school as well, but maybe not, I'm not sure. But point being, oh my goodness, I don't usually claim myself to be good at FPSs. I'm generally terrible at them, but I played the classes that you didn't really need to be good at first-person shooters to be good at. Engineer, Demo Man. The way Demo works is he is, Demo Man is a class that shoots grenades, basically, and those grenades detonate after a certain period of time. Or you can set up sticky bombs, and sticky bombs were what I usually played with the Demo Man, because they let him do a fancy kind of mobility technique where he could effectively fly over the stage. So, sticky bombs, you would set them on the ground, and then you could detonate them at will at any time. So it's basically you set up traps for enemies to walk over, and then detonate them when you see people walking by. But if you timed a jump properly while standing on top of the sticky bombs, you would launch yourself across the stage. And that was intended. It was hilarious. But it let you get a lot of map coverage, and as long as you do take damage from your bombs, so usually I think you do 2 bombs, and that would knock you down about half your health. And I do believe the distance you travel scaled with the amount of bombs you launched yourself with. But basically, I would take those bombs to wherever I needed to, and then set up around the enemy base and like control points and such, so that they would have to clear the bombs. And I believe that the bombs were destroyable, and the pyro could blow them away with his gust of wind as well. But the other fun part about the Demo Man is he had a weapon called the Highlander, which was a giant broadsword. Or a claymore, maybe, whatever. I'd say it was a two-handed sword, and basically, it had an effect called Headhunter, I think, where basically every kill that you get increases the Demo Man's HP, or specifically every kill you get with that weapon increases the Demo Man's HP by, say, 25, which is, I think he starts with 175 HP. So it stacks up, and suddenly you're a tank man who can explode people very easily. So I had a couple Highlander runs where I would just be playing my mind off. I would be using a combination of sticky bombs, Highlander, and I forget what his secondary weapon was. I can't remember, actually. I think it was just a shotgun. I think it was just a boring shotgun, but the shotgun did work when you reloading ammo always takes time. So the shotgun you could switch to in a time of, well, I need damage now. Also, if you're fighting close range with people and you're not using the Highlander, you can get a meat shot with the shotgun, for example. Let's see what's in here. Devil Beggar. I'm not gonna do it. As it is, I've taken a lot of damage on this floor. Alright, we know where the boss room is. Let's go... not here. Let's go this way. But yeah, so... Demo Man and Spy were my mains, I would say, but I got good with pretty much every class except for Sniper. And that figures because, again, I don't really play FPSs, so sniping is not my strong suit. I think the only characters I could reliably snipe were heavies because, I mean, they're huge, and their head is huge, which makes them a prime target for one-shotting them with headshots. But yeah, I'd say Sniper was probably my least favorite and least played class overall. The Scout was kind of their mobility was a mobility sort of class. He moves very fast and can double. He's the only class in the game that can double jump. And I wouldn't say I was amazing at Scout, but I got pretty good at him for a while. The trick with him that I pulled off pretty consistently was, well, I guess I wouldn't call it a trick, but there were people who were good enough that if you played Scout, you could, I guess, like I said, classes in this in TF2 are balanced around each other, and the heavy is a pretty fair check to the scout. The scout is a glass cannon, and he doesn't do a lot of damage in one shot, so that he can't really easily kill heavies. Whereas the heavy's the tank. He does a lot of damage. The scout is not a tank and does a little damage, but is very mobile. And I was able to play the scout so abusing his mobility to just like jump around the heavy, jump behind him, and stay in constant motion, such that I could actually 1v1 heavies pretty consistently if they didn't know how to deal with me. Sorry, this room takes a lot of brain for me, apparently. But yeah, that's where I was back when I used to play the game enough. I don't think this is what I think it is. I don't actually know what the Dirty Diaper does. I'm taking a lot of damage. This may be a problem for the run if I'm not careful. Would be a shame if I made it this far and then died. Ooh, dice roll. I feel like it's a terrible idea to reroll this run if I get a dice room that lets me do that. Alright, but anyway, where did this tangent even start from? Because, man, I started rambling about TF2 and forgot what I was talking about for sure. I think I was talking about Steven Universe a bit. Oh well. Let's take a look at what this dice room does. The one die. I don't actually remember what this one gives. It has a picture of the D4 on it, but I don't think that's correct. Oh, that's just mean. Anyway, sorry, my brain has gone into fight or flight mode, I would call it, where I'm just desperately trying to figure out how do I survive this run and get it to completion, because I have not set myself up well for that. Alright, well, I'm supposed to be commentating, so let's see, what else can I talk about? So that was a fun memory. Oh, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about memories. I have a lot of those. Well, there goes another heart. Oops. Oh, this is bad. This has become bad. I may have to focus on the run for this last little bit, just because clearly I'm not playing great anymore. Oh, come on. Okay, good. We're fine. We're fine. We can do this. Alright, so clearly I need some HP because I'm not in a great spot for that. Alright, can I make it through Mom's Heart without taking any damage? The answer will not surprise you. Like I said, not a surprise at all. Alright, we're gonna focus very heavily on Mom. I don't know how I managed double shot. I'm not complaining. I'm just curious. Oh, I got Incubus. Or no, not this isn't Incubus. I don't know which one this is, but it's the one that like multiplies my shots by 2. Oh no. Okay. Let's not die there. That would have been sad. Alright. So can I beat all of Shoal on 1.5 hearts? This is a bad idea. Alright. Let's... Alright. Not a terrible situation here. Alright. So far, so good. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, Brimstone. Okay. I definitely had the chance of running into that for sure. Alright, I can't see them, which does not make this easier. Okay. Alright, we've got more HP now. This is basically a free room if I can hit the enemy. Oh my god. There we go, got him. Alright. That looks like a fun room. Thankfully, Fear Shot is going to keep me safe pretty well here. If I can just manage to... Why are these guys so hard to hit? My goodness. Alright. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear, dear. Get him, Leech. There we go. Okay. Oh dear, oh dear. Alright, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Okay. I will feel a little bit safer if I can get one more heart. Okay, these guys shoot lasers, so I should not let them live for long. Womp womp. Alright, this is another free room pretty much to get some HP off of. Alright, let's see if I can think of another story to kill some time with while I continue to hopefully not throw this run. Alright, let's see if I can get this. I have enough bombs, I can keep at it. No, I don't think I'm getting this. Wait. No, I'm not gonna risk it. Alright, here's the boss room. Do I go for the boss room or do I farm for the pit? Or the pin, rather. I'll just let the leech take care of that spider for me. I think I go for it. Because I'm more likely to take damage than not here. A little too early. Alright. Alright, now if I recall, he uses brimstone when he does this. So we fight the Krampus first, and then he splits into his two little friends. And then we have to... Okay, there's two little friends. They're feared now. So then we do 2 rounds of the devil, which I don't think are the hardest. Gosh. Oh god. Well, it becomes difficult when you have to contend with brimstone. Let's just use the lovers because we can. Alright. Now we just have to deal with you. Whoa, you fire fast. There's your brimstone attack, so just don't stand in front of you. Oh dear. So basically I can take one hit without dying and then it's over. Oh, Sackdag saved me there. Oh, ah, shoot. Oh no, please don't throw the run, Jeff. You can do this, man. Oh, I panicked. I choked. Ah. Wow, I can't believe I threw the run there. Unfortunate. Well, clearly my commentary fell off because I was very stressed at the end there, but I hope you enjoyed the commentary up until this point. It would be nice to have at least one win in a video after like 5 series of lost runs. But I think that's where I'll end this video for today. Unfortunate. You know, this is definitely something I'm learning to do, but maintaining commentary and playing well at a game is more difficult than you think. Especially if it's not a game that you're inherently good at. That said, I hope you enjoyed watching if you're awake, and it helped you fall asleep if you were awake. I hope you're sleeping well if you're asleep. I love you, Kiwi. I'll see you in the next one.